Hi and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that we link with a January transfer move to Arsenal. And after 26 days, it's good to say that Arsenal are making a signing. Pablo Lemar is going to be an Arsenal player. It's kind of been the worst kept secret over the past couple of days. First of all, I think on Friday, he was spotted at the airport over there in Brazil with Edu, preparing to fly into Heathrow Airport, where he was going to be signing for Arsenal, or should I say have his medical to sign for Arsenal. Then yesterday, spotted at the airport as he arrived with Edu, asked by the reporter, are you signing for Arsenal? Or are you happy to be signing for Arsenal? He said yes. Medical was done and he is an Arsenal player. And what is he going to bring to the table? We all know that we needed a centre-back. We were desperate for a centre-back. Mavropanos has gone out on loan. Callum Chambers out till the rest of the season after rupturing his ACL. And we're very short in that area. You know, David Luiz, Socrates, Mustafi. Basically, that's it. I don't forget about Rob Holding. But Rob Holding still sort of nursing his way back from injury. So 4 centre-backs, but we could see that, you know, we need more cover in that area. And Pablo Lemar is coming in to this area. Now, what do we know about Pablo Lemar? Well, we know that he's 26. He's a Spanish player. Even though he's been playing his football over there in Brazil, he is from Spain. And he played his football over in Brazil for Flamengo. And previous to that, he was at Manchester City. He was a Manchester City player for 3 years. So obviously, Mikel Arteta, very, very familiar with him. Even though he spent those 3 years out on loan at Girona, NEC, Breda, and at Deportivo La Coruna, before finally joining Flamengo last summer, where he made a great impact. They won the Brazilian Serie A League. They won the Copa Libertadores. And he played against Liverpool in that World Club Cup, which they lost 1-0. But a guy that has played very, very well over there in Brazil. Now, looking at the pros of this guy, he's a very commanding centre-back. 6'3" he stands. So that's going to set him in good stead in the Premier League, where we know there can be a lot of aerial balls into the box, and he's going to have to deal with a lot of headers. I mean, put it this way, next week we're up against Burnley, right? So I'm not sure if he'll be in for that game, but that immediately would be a test of his aerial abilities, because Burnley, if any, you know, of all the teams in the Premier League, are going to test you a lot in the air and a lot with physicality. But he seems to be, you know, well equipped in those areas. He's a left-footed centre-back, which is very interesting, and is very, very good on the ball. Had an 87% pass completion rate last season at Flamengo. So that means that his style is going to perfectly suit what Mikel Arteta is trying to do, which is, we know Arteta, a bit like Emery previously, wants to be at most times playing the ball out from the back and building up attacks. Now, this guy, good pass completion rate. It's not going to have the distribution which is as poor as, like, say, a Mustafi, where we know Mustafi decent in other areas, but his passing out from the back is poor. Socrates as well, also not the greatest passer out of the back, but this guy, that's one of his big strengths. Good at passing the ball out from the back, good at pass completion, very, very comfortable on the ball. We know that he's a winner. As I said, he won the Copa Libertadores last season. He won the league as well in Brazil. So he's a winner. He's used to winning, and that is going to set him in good stead. He's going to be able to settle in pretty easily, I would have thought. Number one, he was at Manchester City for 3 seasons. Now, as I said, I know that he spent most of that time out on loan. However, he'll be familiar with the Premier League. He'll be familiar with the players in the Premier League. He'll be familiar with some of the environment around the Premier League. And he will be familiar with Mikel Arteta, because Arteta, of course, was at Manchester City when he was there. Remember, Manchester City were also very interested in trying to sign him. They've had a bit of a crisis in the centre-back position, but it is Arsenal who's managed to get hold of Mari. Now, as I said, he'll be able to settle in very well. He's Spanish-speaking, of course, but Arteta, the manager, will be able to speak Spanish. He's got players there like Bellerin who speak Spanish, Ceballos. So the language barrier shouldn't be too big of a problem because there's Spanish-speaking players there. And also the Brazilian connection. He was over in Brazil. Edu, of course, is Brazilian. Gabriel Martinelli, of course, as well, a Brazilian as well. So shouldn't have any problems really and truly in settling in at Arsenal and to the Premier League. And you know, it all bodes well when you look at all of those sort of things. I suppose some of the disadvantages is, first of all, that he's not known as a quick centre-back. He's not, say, a Laporte or a Van Dijk where they've got quite a lot of speed. He's not the quickest centre-back in the world. That is one of the disadvantages with him. And we do know that the Premier League is a very quick league. We do know that, like Arsenal and under Mikel Arteta, he's wanting to play a very high line. And this guy's not the quickest centre-back around. So that is going to be one of his disadvantages. But does seem to have a lot of advantages and does seem to be a player that will suit the system of what Mikel Arteta is trying to do. And for me, that is very important. And with all signings going forward, I mean, I was out last night with some friends and we were discussing this very thing where we were saying it's not just about how much money you throw at transfers. It's about buying players that are going to suit the system that the manager is trying to play, right? We've seen with teams like Manchester United over the years where they just throw loads of money, go and get players that they don't really need, players that don't suit the system. Remember they bought Lukaku. Lukaku didn't suit the style of play. He's a prolific goal scorer, but didn't suit the style of play, what they're trying to do. I like the fact that Arteta is bringing in a defender that's going to suit what he wants to do. You know, and this has been our argument with some of the defenders that we've got. Like, as I said, and I'm not picking on him, but a Mustafi, we want to play the ball out from the back. As you saw in that Chelsea game, that is not his strength. His strength is being combative, winning things in the air, blocks. That's his strength. It's not playing out from the back. It's not being good on the ball. It's not being able to build attacks. So, yeah, this is going to be very interesting time to see how he gets on. We've been desperately in need of a centre-back. But welcome to Arsenal, Pablo Mari. But who else is going to be coming in with him? Will Thomas Lemar be the second signing for Arsenal? There's lots of rumours today around that this could get done. It looks more than likely, if it does happen, that it'll be a loan deal. Atletico Madrid want to get him off the books to free up the cash. They want to get the Edison Cavani deal done. That looks like that's going to get done. And they see Lemar, who hasn't worked out at all over there in Madrid, as sort of surplus to requirements. They would love to get a big transfer fee for him right now, but I think they can see that that's looking a bit unrealistic, as nobody's looking to sort of bring Lemar in for those big fees that they're looking at. They remember they paid, nearly £55 million for him. Apparently they're looking to recoup at least £35 million, but there's just nobody willing to pay that at the moment. So a loan deal with maybe an option to buy at the end of it will suit Arsenal perfectly. And we know at the start of the window, Mikel Arteta spoke a lot about, loan deals. So this will interest him a lot. The only thing about bringing in a Thomas Lemar, if it did happen, is does it block the progress of a couple of the young Arsenal players? Does it block the progress of a Reece Nelson? Because Lemar preferred sort of position at the moment is playing out wide. Does that block Reece Nelson? Does that block Saka? Does that even sort of hold back a bit of Martinelli who can play there? Do we even need Thomas Lemar? It'd be an exciting signing, but do we need him? How many games will he play? So all of these are conundrums. You want to be bringing in top quality players, but kind of a bit of a contradiction to what I was just saying, players that we actually really, really need. do we really, really need Thomas Lemar? That is really open to debate. He is a quality player, and no doubt he'd be looking to fight to get his position. He wants to get into that French national team, and he'd settle in well. Got obviously good friends with Lacazette. He knows Aubameyang as well, but and Pepe. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with this Thomas Lemar one. But it's still very hot, the room at the moment. And Layvin Kurzawa. Now, a couple of weeks ago, this one looked like it was looking like something that's going to definitely happen for Arsenal. The left back, more looking like Arsenal possibly might have brought him in on loan this window for maybe, a fee of a couple of £1 million. But more likely that probably they'd wait until the end of the summer and bring him in on a free. But it's looking like PSG might be willing to do a swap deal with Juventus for their versatile fullback, Matteo Di Sciglio, and that might scupper that whole Layvin Kurzawa deal. As I said, Kurzawa, left back, you know, Kolasinac is there, Tierney's coming back, Saka's been doing brilliant there. Do we really need that? Is that a priority? I don't know. So listen, there's movement in the window. Pablo Mari becoming an Arsenal player. Welcome to Arsenal, Pablo Mari. But who's next?